Most policies require the ability to manipulate a list of objects, files, users, or storage resources. Loop microservices support iterative processing. Three types of loop microservices are supported in the iRODS rule language. They are explained in detail in Chapter 2.4 of the Microservices Workbook. The three loop types are foreach, loop over the elements in a list; while, loop until a condition is satisfied; for, loop until an index limit is reached. The foreach loop is used to process the results of a query on the metadata catalog. The while loop can be used to iterate until a process completes correctly. The for loop can be used to iterate a defined number of times, such as the creation of an explicit number of replicas. The syntax of the for each loop is for each, parentheses, element in list, parentheses, brace, a set of operations, close brace. A simple rule to iterate over the elements in a list is shown here. In the example, an integer list A is defined with 4 numbers. A loop counter $i is initialized to 0, and then a for each loop is used to loop over the elements in the list $a. We use the workflow variable $r to denote an element in the list $a. Inside the for each loop, we write a line to standard out containing the element number and the value of the element. We then increment the element counter $i for the next loop iteration. The syntax of the while loop is while parenthesis condition close parenthesis brace a set of operations close brace. As long as the condition is true, the operations within the braces are executed. When the condition becomes false, the loop is terminated. An example is shown here. In the example, we set a workflow variable $in to the value of 5, and we initialize a counter $i to 0. We then execute a while loop testing whether the counter $i is less than $in. Within the while loop, we write out the iteration number and increment the counter. The while loop executes 5 times. The syntax of the for loop is for parenthesis $index start expression semicolon $index loop condition semicolon $index update expression close parenthesis brace operations close brace. The start definition defines the initial value for the index. The loop condition defines when the loop will be terminated. The update expression defines the index value for the next iteration of the loop. An example is shown here. In the example, we use the workflow variable $i for the index. The start expression sets the initial index value to 0. The loop condition sets the upper limit for the index value to 6. The update expression defines successive values of the index to be incremented by 1. The operation within the loop writes out the iteration number. The loop is executed 6 times. The for loop can also be executed backwards, starting at the upper limit for an index and iterating down to the initial value. An example of this was used for the concatenation of 2 strings. The start expression set the index to the size of the first string. The loop condition set the stop value for the index to 0, and the update expression defined successive values of the index to be decremented by 1. Take 7 minutes to complete exercise 43. Write a rule that adds the numbers from 1 to 10. Try using a for loop. Try using a while loop. Please load your rule file into the lifetime library in the sub-collection class INLS 624 by the end of today's class.